Island records a drop in crime and police are determined to keep it that way. That's our top story in our Barbados Today evening news update for Friday, March the 23rd. So glad you could join us. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Crime is down by 7% so far this year. The good news was delivered by Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police for Crime Management, Calvin Bishop, this afternoon as he addressed the closing ceremony of a 2-week basic criminal course at the Regional Police Training Center. The crime chief told the young graduating officers he's expecting them to keep crime at an all-time low.
Currently, we have a reduction in crime as noted in the following statistics. For the year 2018, there are an overall total of 1,729 cases of crime as compared with 1,861 cases for the same period in the year 2017, which is a 7% reduction in our crime. In the area of major crime, to state a few, there were 5 murders so far for the year 2018 when compared with 4 for the same period in 2017. Robberies were 56 to compare with 60. Rape, 10 to compare with 22. Aggravated burglary, 19 to compare with 12. Theft from the person, 24 to compare with 33. Commercial burglaries, 44 to compare with 51. And other burglaries, 219 when compared with 217 for the year 2017.
Bishop also served notice that officers will be subjected to increased scrutiny to ensure they get the job done professionally. He disclosed that the police force will be intensifying lie detection testing of officers.
Those of you who now have completed this course and are endeavoring to become detectives will have to undergo a truth verification test. This is to undergo a polygraph examination to satisfy the administration that you can operate in the area of criminal investigation, in the area of the criminal investigation department. As a matter of fact, all police officers at some point may have to undergo such tests.
19 police officers and 2 Barbados Defense Force officers graduated from the basic crime investigation course. Over at Her Majesty's Prison DOS, 148 prison officers received their letters of appointment and 13 others were promoted at the ceremony at the St. Philip Institution this morning. Superintendent of Prisons Colonel John Nurse had high praise for his team, even as he issued a warning to some to do their job or be prepared to go.
I also caution you that your job performance is also critical. Instances of excessive sick leave and absenteeism, failure to successfully complete your annual efficiency training and testing, instances of indiscipline and your general attitude, deportment and performance all matter in your general suitability for onward progression in the service and may even affect your continued attachment to the prison service. I therefore urge everyone to continue to demonstrate your commitment to excellence in all you do.
In other news now, the Barbados Light and Power Company reports that it is almost halfway through the implementation of its Advanced Metering Infrastructure Smart Grid Technology project. The $43 million initiative, which forms part of the company's grid modernization program, began in 2016 and should be completed by the end of 2019. Managing Director of the BL&P, Roger Blackman, told reporters today that he was pleased with the progress being made.
What the smart meters do is they're electronic meters that capture the energy use, as well as things like power quality and voltages and currents and so on an ongoing basis in real time and communicate back to our control room so that on a monthly basis, it's just a matter of sending a read signal and you get all the information back to the control room in one go.
Meanwhile, Director of Asset Management Rohan Seal sought to dispel some concerns expressed by members of the public about the new smart meters.
Some persons are concerned about RF and so on, but it's no different to what is transmitted by cell phones and so on. And some persons are concerned perhaps about spying and that kind of those concerns, but there's no spying when we have smart metering installed. It's really about two-way communication and also empowering our customers going forward.
In sports now, it's a big day of celebration for the St. Michael's School, the double champions of this year's Barbados Secondary Schools Athletic Championships. Today, the Cougars kicked off their celebrations with praise at the school and then took to Warrens, Bridgetown and the surrounding areas for a 2-hour-long motorcade. School principal Yvette Mears told Barbados Today winning both titles was always in the plan, particularly since the school is celebrating its 90th birthday this year. She credited the school's success to God, hard work, determination, and perseverance. Track and field coach Gabriel Burnett said both teams were preparing from last year, right after the school won the boys' title. He said the win was a total school effort. In more sports, now the West Indies will face rivals Afghanistan in Sunday's final of the ICC World Cup qualifiers after the Asian team trunks Ireland by 5 wickets in the final Super 6 match today. Chasing 210 for victory at Harare Sports Club, the Phil Simmons coached Afghan side reached their target of the first ball of the final over to complete a sensational turnaround in the tournament and also qualify for next year's World Cup in England. They will now lock horns with the West Indies in the tournament finale at the same venue after the Caribbean squad beat Scotland on Wednesday to become the first side from the 10-team tournament to qualify for the World Cup.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
I'm Professor Andrew Rose, the Central Bank of Barbados' 2018 Distinguished Visiting Fellow, and I'm delighted to be absorbing your beautiful island. Over the next few days, I'll meet and chat with different groups, and on Tuesday, March 27th from 8:30 p.m., I invite you to converse with me and Julian Rogers on the topic, Looking Forward, How Can Caribbean Nations Respond to Global Developments, of which there are many. The conversation takes place live on CBC TV8, VOB 92.9, CBC 94.7, CMC member stations across the Caribbean, and on www.centralbank.org.bb and Facebook. It's an occasion that you should not miss. Tune in.
Welcome back with news from the region now. The Trinidad and Tobago government says it is reviewing laws on domestic violence against the backdrop of the killing of 14 women so far this year. However, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi says the battle against domestic violence is not for the government, but for the entire society.
As a matter of fact, just today at Cabinet, we dealt with the baseline study on gender-based violence in Trinidad and Tobago, and the quantitative and qualitative studies around that. And we have very specific and targeted amendments that we are treating with. And in fact, we've been working on it for quite some time because we recognize that there was a lacuna in the process and in the law.
Within the first 3 months of this year alone, 14 women were killed in Trinidad and Tobago. The AG said those who believe they are at risk of domestic violence should go to the police and consider whether they should get a protection order.
Usually acts of domestic violence or reports of domestic violence involve a knock on the door by a policeman. You see it on television. There is no rational explanation as to why that doesn't prevail here. In fact, that is the obligation that officers act in accordance. Hence, the Commissioner of Police has a role to play in ensuring that the police act upon reports.
The AG said there must be societal intolerance of domestic violence.
It's true to say that both sexes have difficulty with rejection, men and women. There are difficulties of abuse with men being the subject of abuse. The savagery of a man abusing a woman is an intolerable situation. So I think that this is a multi-dimensional position.
And on the international scene in France, a police officer who swapped himself for a hostage in a supermarket siege is fighting for his life in hospital. Word of this from the French President Emmanuel Macron. Now, the officer had helped to bring an end to a gunman's shooting spree that killed 3 in southern France. The gunman said he was fighting on behalf of the Islamic State group. He was shot dead by French police after mounting 3 separate attacks. 16 people were injured, 2 seriously. President Macron called it an act of Islamic terrorism. And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Now, you can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a wonderful weekend.